builders, parents, and collectors. On this episode of Mock and Model Monday here at the Creation Evaluation Station, I'm going to be evaluating this. It is the high-grade Gundam Astray Red Frame with flight unit. So yeah, before I get into it any further, I just want to let new viewers know that I do in-depth reviews of models and construction kits, both new and old, mostly Lego, but other products as well, such as Bandai. And I also do reviews and discussions of other creative works like movies, video games, and animation. So, because these are in-depth reviews, they can be on the longer side. So there are timestamps down here embedded in the red line that you can use to help you jump around to your favorite parts or to use as bookmarks to come back to at a later date. So, let's take a closer look at that box. Beautiful artwork there. This shiny sword. And yes, this is one of my favorite Gundams, so I'm really excited for putting this together. It's actually the first one other than an SD that I've put together of this guy. But I am definitely excited. Look at that overhand shop. So, the details of this guy. Said this is a high grade. Its code number is MBF-P02. It is a 1/144 scale, and it is also, let's see where it is there, number 58 in the Seed Destiny line, which, funny enough, this is my favorite Gundam, but I've not seen the show of any. I've seen only the first episode of Seed, and I need to watch more of it, find out, get some background information on the pilots and things. But I love the mech design anyways. I mean, you can still love the mech and not know much about the show or the backstory on it. So I'm definitely excited for putting this together. Let's go pop her open and see what's inside. Let's give this a little snip and see what's inside. Pop! Alright. Ooh. Looks like we got a bit of stickers here. Got one bag. 2 bags, and much smaller third bag. So 3 bags of parts. We'll take a look at those runners here in a moment. Here's the instruction booklet. Wow, that's a really big book. Got some nice artwork there again, same as the cover, although looks like it's slightly different shade of paint. Then we got the pictures of the finished model, nice dynamic poses, several pages of instructions, whoosh, including a couple more here in color as well. We got a bit to put together here. So here we have our runners. We have A1 here in red. We have a gunmetal, really dark black one here. F. Here's some stickers and some more stickers, I think. Those are very different stickers. We have, where is it here? Oh, yes. D2 in white. And this is D1 in white. Then we have A2 in red. We have G in red. We have H in a light gray color. We have a polycap, a large polycap runner here in red, which is kind of unusual to see those in red. But then we have both a small and large lightsaber runners here. transparent pink. And that's it. There's quite a bit here, so I better get this cracking. Here I have the Stray all put together, and he's looking pretty cool, but he is gonna definitely require a bit more work out of the box. And I'm not talking about paint jobs or panel lining or anything like that. He's gonna need some glue. Now, this is supposed to be a snap build, so you shouldn't need the glue, but there are several areas where glue would definitely help this out, or a little bit of nail polish. And I'll point them out while I'm pointing out the mobility. I'm not going to move it because it is very fiddly, so I'm not going to show the articulation, but I'll point it out to you. Let's start with the head. He's got, yes, and he's very back heavy, unfortunately, with that backpack on. He's got ball joint in the head, allows for plenty of movement. There's joints in the shoulder. It's not a ball joint. Almost all the joints are polycap, except for, I believe, well, it's still a polycap, but the ball joint in the head, and there's some in the torso as well. Got two joints in the torso, one down by the waist and one midway, so he's got a decent ab crunch. Of course, you can, the one on the bottom is also able to full rotation around the hips as well. He's got upper arm swivel, single joint in the elbow, and of course ball joint for the wrist. You can get slightly more than 90 degrees on the elbow, not much more than that with the single joint. Now the hips are part of the worst problems here, and oh, actually, before I get to the hips, we have two little skirt siding here. These are on little ball joints, and this one where the sword scabbard is held is unfortunately on the loose side. And this is where you could use some a little bit of nail polish or some other kind of extra paint on there or something to make that stiffer so it's not falling off. The ball joint likes to fall off, but also the scabbard little clip sometimes falls off as well. Nothing you can do about the clip, but if the ball joint would stay on better, you'd have easier job with the clip. So the hips will go all the way out to the side, but they're really tight, and that's not a bad thing, but the problem is it's tighter than the poly cap that's holding the joint together, and because of that, the pieces on the outside will actually pop apart, and the leg will just come off, and you will have to reassemble it. But that's where, if you glued these up on the top, it would hold together much better. The shoulders are pretty tight as well, but they don't have quite the problem with the pieces falling apart. You got a double joint here in the knee, and it looks really cool. I loved building these legs. It's just the hips won't stay together. Although I did have problems with the kneecaps that you can't really see here. They had some additional material on them that needed to be cleaned off. They're not nubs because they weren't part of the attachment to the thing, but they were extra plastic. They needed to be cleaned off so you could actually connect them together, which is very odd. I have not seen that. I don't know if they had to do that to reinforce the part or something. I'm a little confused about that. But we also have ankle rotation here. This is on a ball joint, so you got not a lot of side to side, but enough to give a good stance. And you got some front to back, more back than there is front. That's that. Now moving on to the back, because there are some things here that are going on. The little wings are on a small joint, and so are these lower rocket things. His weapons are stored over here. And if we take this off, this is his regular backpack, which broke on me, unfortunately, and I didn't have the right glue to glue it on, so it's still not on quite right. It clips onto the back up here. It's actually, this is his normal state, and you can see here he's got two lightsaber hilts here on the backpack that you can use. There are, we'll look at them in a moment, but there are lightsaber beams that, like beam saber beams that can go in these and be used. So these are actual weapons. This folds down for the main purpose of putting the backpack on, which I think is really neat. So this thing is really posable, but it's gonna need some cleanup to really not have it fall apart in your hands. It feels like a bomb, so to speak. The jetpack's really nice and don't have too many problems with that. The flight unit. It's got attachments here on both sides. See, this one's got the weapons and stuff on it. He's got a shield. He's got a rifle here. He's got his katana here, and it does fit inside the sheath here, which is really nice. I've seen some things like this where they just have a handle that goes in and you have the sword sit loose. I'd rather have the sword actually fit in the sheath, which is what I'd like to see. And that's what we got here. Another little loose part here is these hands are designed with the backs to come off, and that so you can fit the weapon in there. This sword's got a bit of a knob on the hilt, so you can't just slide it in, so you have to remove the hand, put it there. But that little hand piece is very loose. It comes off pretty easy. So you don't want to glue it down, but you could use a little bit of paint or nail polish or whatever to thicken it up just a little bit so it stays in a lot easier. The one on the other hand seems to be fine. Of course, it had to be the sword here. And here we have the rest of his accessories. Here are the beams for the beam saber. He's got two additional open hands. Nice, because you don't always get multiple hands in a high grade. We have this clip that goes on as part of the shield to attach to the arm in different ways. And we also have this, which I'm not sure the story. I believe this is supposed to be a head of another mech that he's using on his hands. And then you have smaller light blade, smaller beam sabers that come out of both sides. He can dual wield, so to speak. So this is on top of his katana and the shield and his gun. So he comes with quite a few accessories. Plus you have the backpack too, which I guess you would consider an accessory as well. So this has got quite a bit going on with it. Here we have a nice size comparison shot here with the Grandpappy Gundam, which they're about the same size, but you definitely notice a difference in style. How these have changed throughout the years. And just for kicks, I thought we'd bring out the SD version of the Red Frame. You notice it looks a lot less red because most of that red happens to be sticker applications, and he definitely shows how much more work that the SD needs to look color accurate, which is quite a bit. But it gives you a little bit of a fun comparison there, just the same. And I was going to show this guy in multiple poses, but like I said, I'm having problems with the hips. I'm going to probably end up having to glue them together, but didn't really have time to do that for the review, so we are not going to be posing him with all those different accessories. Overall thoughts with this. I like the looks of it. As I said, this is my favorite look, one of my favorite looking Gundams. And unfortunately, it's come to be a bit of a disappointment. Not in the appearance, but in the overall build and the mobility and stuff of it. It wasn't apparent during my review. Big problems with the hips. I also had those knee problems. Mostly knee problems where there's excess plastic there. And these are not nubs that I didn't forget to cut off or anything like that. These were additional plastic that was on the mold for whatever reason that didn't allow it to clip together. And this is very strange. I know I haven't put tons and tons of Gundams yet together, but I put a good amount. Back in the day when Gundam Wing came out, I put quite a few of those. Those were no grades, but even still, they were slightly easier to put together. I never had issue with excess plastic. I don't even remember. Yeah, I probably cut the nubs off with a pocket knife. Is how I used to put my models together. But I don't remember there ever being any extra plastic preventing them to snap together. And because should be a snap together kit, I shouldn't. I don't know. I'm disappointed in that. And then there's the hips that aren't going to stay together. Very little pressures on them, and they will fall apart. You have the little side skirt there. That's almost forgivable. So yeah, this thing needs a lot of work to make to have it come out good. And you compare this to the Gundam RX, that high grade kit I did, which I think came out before this one. That one came together so much easier and better. So I don't know. Not overall happy with this. But as far as final eval, as I said, this thing looks good. No problems with the way it's designed and how it looks. Now the functions with all the different flaws it's got, it doesn't function as well as it should, at least not right outside the box. The potential is there. It was designed a certain way that, as I said, it's very posable. The things aren't going to stay together. The hips are just going to fall apart. As far as difficulty, it wasn't too hard overall. The most part was figuring out what was wrong with the knee pieces and that extra plastic that was causing issues. Once it figured out what was wrong, it was easier. But it's like you're supposed to just snap it together and put it together. And yes, after cleaning up the nubs and stuff like that, well, it's like, well, what is going on? Why am I having such a problem with this? What am I doing wrong? And come and find out there's that extra plastic back there on closer inspection. And that kind of made it more difficult than it should have been. Especially did that, like I said, the RX was really easy to put together. Now the overall design, how this thing was designed to put together, it seems good. I mean, the issue seems that excess plastic, I don't know where it's coming from, and I don't think that was, that's not part of the original design of the model. That's something that happened when they went to make the sprues that it comes on and stuff. I'm not sure why they were there. It's very confusing, and it was only those certain couple of pieces. The rest of it didn't have anything like that. It came together real easy. So I don't know. Definitely a disappointment with this a little bit. Like with some work, it'll come out a lot better. And hopefully, if you have it, you don't have problems with the thing just breaking like it did with that one piece. I definitely don't suggest this for newbie builders. Apparently not all high grades are alike. I would definitely go with the RX, the Grandpappy there. Of course, starting with an entry grade would be even better. But yeah, I wouldn't suggest this for brand new ones. I struggled with it. Maybe veteran model builders would scoff at me and brush off my problems easily. But yeah, I end up giving this an 8.5. I mean, I almost maybe should give it a lower grade, but that may have been my experience, and some of the issues might actually be my newness, my newbie showing through. I'm not sure. Said overall, this looks good, comes out looking good, and it is one of my favorite Gundams. Oh, and by the way, I talk about looks, and it does look good out of the box, even without stickers. There's some crazy stickers belonging on this, including the whole blade of the sword and stuff like that. I will just going to leave the blade. That can get painted. The eyes, unfortunately, I lost. There's a little tiny sticker, and it fell and landed on the floor or stuck to something. I don't know. I could have stuck to something too. And that was the one sticker I was going to put on, and probably the cameras. I didn't even bother with the cameras once I lost the eyes. I'm like, that's it. I'm just done. Let's finish this up. That's it here for me at the Creation Evaluation Station. Hopefully next week's Mock and Model Monday will be more exciting, and I'll have a better model to put together. This is definitely better than last week's Artifact. I'll tell you that right now. I might have my disappointments with this, but that was utterly gross. So anyways, I'm signing off here, reminding you that creativity is key.